Welcome to the sector update for the week ending 30th May 2025. First, let's look at the longer term trends of the sectors. The auto sector continued to be strong. Likewise, the manufacturing, IT, media, metals, the oil and gas, and the realty sectors remained strong. While you can see the energy sector, which was weak here, has now turned strong. And in a similar manner, the infrastructure sector, which was strong for a long time, has just turned weak here. Similarly, the MNC sector also has turned from weak to strong. While the banking, financial services, healthcare, pharma, in the service sector, and the PSU banks also remained weak. Now let's move to the lower time frame, which is the daily trends, sector trends. When both the long term and the short term trends are strong, then the sector remains really strong. But you can always see the variations or the changes coming in the lower time frame, which takes little time to reflect on the higher time frame. Now, in the smaller time frame, you can see that some of the sectors which were strong are becoming weak. Like the auto sector, you can see the last week it was totally weak here. Similarly, the oil and gas sector, which was again strong in the higher time frame, is turning weak here. Likewise, IT too is turning weak here. While in the higher time frame we saw that it was remaining strong, but the change is happening in these sectors, which is auto, oil and gas, and IT, they are turning weak. While you can see the PSUs, which was showing as weak in the higher time frame, is now, you can see it is turning strong or becoming positive, we can say. While the other sectors which are strong in the higher time frames, which is the manufacturing, media, metal, the realty sectors, are all remaining strong in both the time frames. So we can right now can say that these are the strongest sectors now. Now let's quickly look at the movement of the sectors which are changing. First, on a higher time frame, sectors changing from weak to strong. One is, of course, the energy sector. You can see on a weekly it is changed from weak to strong, and on the daily it is really strong. And the charts also you can see it was in the negative zone and it now started moving up into the positive zone. And in the daily it is always in the positive zone. Next is the MNC sector. You can see it was weak for quite long and now it has become strong. And on the daily, most of the time it has been on the positive zone. It just went into the negative zone and has come back into the positive zone. So this is another sector which is changing. Now, higher time frame, strong to weak. We can see infrastructure. It has changed from strong to weak here. As you can see clearly, it has moved from this zone to the negative zone. And on the daily, it has always remained in the weak zone. Next, we will look at on the lower time frames what is happening, the changes that are visible are strong to weak. The first one is the auto sector. You can see in the weekly it is still strong, but on the daily you can see that it has changed from clearly from strong to weak here. And on the weekly you can see the U-turn here happening. So this is a sector to watch out whether this weakness will continue or it will bounce back. We need to wait and see. Next is oil and gas. Again, on the weekly charts, it is remaining strong, but you can see this weakness coming in the daily. It's clearly shown here. It's clearly coming to the weak zone, and the big U-turn here happening here on the weekly charts here. We have to see whether it will slip into weakness more in the coming week or there will be a turnaround. And finally, we have here the IT sector. You can see it was quite weak for a long time, then it went into the strong zone in the weekly. But on the daily, you can see the last 2 weeks, it has completely gone into weak sector here. As you can see here, it's still weak here. And of course, on the weekly, you can see it was weak for quite long and then it has just come back and made a small U-turn here. We need to see whether it slip into the weak zone again. In the lower time frame, we see some stock sector which is coming from weak to strong. You can see it is still weak in the weekly, but on the daily you can see it is fully remaining in the strong. So you can see on the weekly it has made a U-turn here and approaching to the zone of strength, and of course on the daily it is always in the strong zone. This is a small summary of the sectors, and you can see the changes are happening mainly in the auto, IT, oil and gas, and PSU. So these are to be watched properly, while you can see energy is remaining the strong one, manufacturing, media, metal, MNCs, and the realty sector. So now let's have a quick look at the sector charts, which may give us more insight into what is happening. Now this is a chart of the auto. We can see it was going up strong. Now You can see some weakness coming into it. It is now dipping below the 20 DMA, and the selling pressure is also coming here, and the relative strength is also decreasing now. So that's why we saw that auto slipping into weakness in the lower time frames. This is the chart of the banking sector. You can see this is more of a sideways movement here. It is a lot of consolidation going on here, but you can see the buying and selling pressure are very less and insignificant on either side, while the relative strength is also in the red zone. Next is the financial sector is very similar to the banking sector where there's consolidation going on here. So we need to wait for a breakout in either of them. FMCG, you can see it has been on the down move for quite some time. It is slipped below the 50 DMA now. You can see the increased selling pressure, and also the relative strength is also in the red zone. IT is more of consolidation here. It is becoming little weak now. We can see the selling pressure is increasing here, and also the relative strength is dropping here. MNC, the relative strength is still positive, but some selling pressure here. It is more of a sideways movement here. Pharma has been weak. You can see it has been out of favor for quite long time, looking at the relative strength here. And as of now, the selling pressure is also there. Realty sector, we saw that it has been doing well on both the shorter time frames and the longer time frame. And it's clearly, you can see that the relative strength is positive here. But we need to see more buying pressure coming in here. Metal, of course, it is on the positive side. But for the last day, we saw some selling coming in here, but overall, it is still in the positive zone. Media, you can see buying pressure is here. The relative strength is also on the green zone. Next is the PSU banks. You can see the change which we saw in the PSU banks. It has been off late. It has shown some buying pressure, and the relative strength is also turning positive here. Here, a lot of good buying seen on the last day of the week. The service sector is more of sideways movement here, but on the rate is out of favor looking at the relative strength. Energy, not there was some buying interest, but on the last day, on the last few days, you saw some selling pressure. On the relative strength chart also, you can see it is not much in favor, but still on the positive side here. Consumption story has been weak, and you can see the selling pressure here, and also the relative strength is on the red side. Infrastructure, again, it was moving up, now on the sideways move with a bias towards the selling. It is now resting on the 20 DMA. Manufacturing, also you can see some selling coming in here, but still on the relative strength is still positive. Healthcare has been doing very badly. You can see it has been totally out of favor In terms of relative strength, also you can see the selling pressure here. Oil and gas has been quite doing well, but some selling pressure coming here. It's moving sideways. It is dipping below the 20 DMA, and you can see a dip in the relative strength. So that we saw in the sector charts as well, that it was some negativity coming there. Consumption is again has been weak for quite long. You can see for quite long time it has been on the unfavorable zone. Now there is selling pressure as well. So the charts are very clear, following similar uh, story which is told by the sector maps, heat maps. In two sectors we need to watch out is the banking, and which is on consolidating now, and financial sectors also consolidating. So, and they are hugging the 20 DMA for quite some time, and now the volatility is also decreasing here. So maybe we could see some breakout in these sectors soon. So these two sectors we need to watch closely. I hope I was able to give a clear picture on the various sectors and their movements the last week, and also on a higher time frame. I hope this was useful to you. Thank you very much for watching. Also, please note that for the next 2 weeks, I will not be able to update on the sectors as I will be traveling, and I will continue to post after I return. Thank you.